Well folks, right as I finished off my War of the Rohirrim trailer breakdown, I found out that there was a Japanese version of the trailer that has a lot of different footage, including some big moments and big reveals. I'm recording this on the road today, but we're going to analyze these new shots as we take a second look at The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim. Interestingly, this trailer leads off with live-action footage of Rivendell and Frodo, along with the Fellowship theme, neither of which will have any real connection to the story of the film. But no doubt they're seeking to generally remind people of the beloved trilogy, also set in this same cinematic universe, as they say. Right off the bat, we get a wider view of the Rohan map, where we can get a small glimpse of Fangorn Forest to the north. There's the river Entwash, which divides Rohan into east and west, and we see the Wold, which throughout history would come under attack by the Easterlings. Fun fact, in the History of Middle-earth volume, The War of the Ring, we are told that during King Brego's time, he drove the remaining orcs and Easterlings from the Wold, and that during the evil days of the Easterling invasion, the women of Rohan fought alongside the men against their enemies. Also of note, we have Erech marked, the location of the stone where, in the books, Aragorn summons the army of the dead. We also see Tarlong's neck, which has some really fun mythology behind it, as the Gondorians believe this and the mountains below it are the result of a giant named Tarlong who fell while carrying two great stones. We then get a couple new shots of Hera riding her horse, and I gotta say I really like this golden hued shot in particular. We get a quick glimpse of Hera riding through the city of Edoras, as we can see Meduseld up at the top of the hill in the background. And it looks like I was correct in that the structure to the left of Meduseld here is a bell tower. We get a quick shot of a Rohirrim family waving to Hera as she passes, then a new shot of Helm sitting on his throne. Likely this is from the same scene involving Freka we saw in the English trailer, as Helm looks pretty grim here. After the Mumik bursts through the wall of Edoras, we get a shot of Hera and what I believe is Helm's youngest son Hama on horseback. Their attention is drawn to something, possibly the attack on Edoras. This could well precede the shot from the English trailer that showed these two fighting with a fiery background. We see a quick sweeping landscape shot, then a couple of new shots of Hera and Wolf from when he asks for her hand in marriage. We then get a close-up shot of Wolf from later in the film when he is wearing Helm's crown, and it looks like he's got more scars here, possibly scratch marks on the right side of his face. We then see a shot zooming out from Wolf's eye as he's riding a horse at night. I gotta say he's got a pretty crazy look in these eyes here. Maybe this pairs with the shot from the other trailer of four riders leaving Edoras as it burns. Now, I asked my friend Study of Bag End on Instagram about what was said in Japanese, and there was a couple things that seemed worth noting here. One is Wolf essentially telling Hera that she could have united the realm, alluding to if she had agreed to marry him. The other bits were pointing out that Helm's Deep is the only stronghold they have, and seemingly Helm telling his daughter that if he should fail, Hera should lead their people. Spoiler warning for the books here, so skip to the time code here if you don't want to hear about it. But I'm guessing by this point in the story, Helm's sons have already died at Helm's Deep. This is part of what causes Helm to basically go berserk on his enemies. As for the king's nephew Freyolf, he will likely be with the second contingent of Rohirrim who take refuge at Dunharrow. This is further confirmation that Hera will be with her father at Helm's Deep and will likely be the only descendant of their generation to lead should Helm fail. We then get a quick shot of Wolf pointing his sword, again while wearing the crown, and we can notice that he definitely does not have a Rohirrim sword. No doubt he's wielding a Dunlending sword here, although there's an outside chance it could be one from his new allies. Speaking of new allies, the next shot has Wolf leading a charge and we can see two Mumakil behind him. Likely this is the fateful attack on Edoras. We get a quick shot of Hera shielding herself from the flames, then a group of Dunlendings charging uphill toward a Rohan settlement. Wolf makes a comment about seizing the throne, then we get a new shot of Hera riding along the wall of Helm's Deep as the siege instrument falls toward the wall. I really like this shot, by the way. We then get this nice pan-down shot as the sun shines and the snow falls on the Hornburg. You can see that the horns that Gimli blew in the Two Towers film are indeed part of the structure here. In the books, Helm would blow his great horn before going out on his nightly solo raids to pummel Dunlendings with his bare hands. So we'll see if he uses a normal horn or if he has this huge horn blown before he goes out. We then see a shot of Hera jumping in front of a wall. Now, I saw a lot of comments commenting on this particular outfit, and I will say, it is one that kind of stuck out as not feeling as Middle-earth to me. I think her green dress we see her in earlier is absolute perfection, and the white one we see her fighting in later is really cool, especially in this animation style. This one though feels a bit more Ren Fair to me. I will note though, contrary to a lot of folks saying she has short shorts on or something, there are definitely some kind of leg covers here. It's certainly not her bare skin with this wardrobe. We then see Helm's presumably oldest son Haleth wielding an axe, and we can see this is during the Edoras attack as the background shows smoke and it's lit like there's fire. We then see Hama drawing a sword, followed by him drawing his bow. Next we get a tight shot of Helm pointing his warhammer forward, and we get a better look at his helmet here. It definitely has the spikes on the side, and we can see a hint of a horse head at the crown. We then get a quick shot of the enemy forces marching, and we can see the guys with animal skulls for headpieces. Again, I think these are Dunlendings, both the ones with and without the skulls. We then see a reaction shot of people mourning, followed by two men carrying a body to add to the line of corpses. Most likely this is somewhere behind the wall at Helm's Deep. While there are certainly people killed after fighting with the Dunlendings, a big part of the story is also famine. As they're under siege during a long and terrible winter, the Rohirrim are starving in the keep. The following reaction shot from Hera, which I still think might be her reacting to her father's fate, could actually be part of this scene of deceased Rohirrim. We next see Helm embracing Hera. He's got spots of blood on his arms and face, so he's presumably been doing some fighting, possibly against the Dunlendings or against something we'll see shortly. We get a couple new shots of Hera and the older lady we saw elsewhere riding through the woods, then the crazed Mumuk again. We then see a pretty sweet shot of people charging at the gate of Helm's Deep in what looks like a blizzard. The gate has icicles coming down from the top similar to the concept art that was released quite some time ago. Then we get one of the biggest surprise moments of the trailer, Helm fighting some kind of beast, again during an all-out blizzard. My guess here is that we're seeing a snow troll. While they're only ever mentioned once in Tolkien's writings, they are specifically mentioned in this tale. Specifically, it's said that Helm Hammerhand, when he goes on his nightly raids to kill Dunlendings, stalks his enemies like a snow troll. This beast does have a broken chain hanging from its wrist, so perhaps it has escaped captivity at some point. As for this particular fight, I'm hoping this isn't the conclusion to Helm's story. Let's just say his ending in the books is quite poetic, and it's way too good to change in my opinion. More likely, I think this is something thrown into the mix within Helm's raids, to give some variety and danger to his later arc. Real quick, as we see Helm get thrown down by this beast, he does have a horn hanging from his sides, so perhaps it is his own personal horn that he sounds. We see a teary-eyed Hera looking through a doorway, possibly the reverse shot of Helm looking in toward her. Again, it's really snowy here, and I'm gonna theorize for a second, so skip ahead to the time code here if you don't want book spoilers. But I think this could be the last time Hera sees her father alive. In the books, Helm is discovered after one of his night raids, and he is frozen where he stands. This, coupled with the charge of people toward the door, make me wonder if Helm is going to stand his ground against a charging group and make a final stand. It would certainly pair with the concept art, where he seems frozen standing on top of a mound of bodies. Another Dunlending charge shot follows, followed by a huge Lord of the Rings character appearance, Saruman the White. This was a cameo I was expecting all along, and I do think it will be just that, a cameo at the end of the film. In the book, Saruman shows up at the coronation of Helm's nephew Freyolaf. By this time, Saruman is already looking toward his own goals, and while he comes with an offer of friendship, it's with ulterior motives. At this point, he offers to Gondor and Rohan that he will take up residence in the old Gondorian fortress of Isengard. And it's because of these very events around the War of the Rohirrim that Gondor and Rohan agree. They see tremendous benefit in having a strong ally at the northern border of Rohan to deter future attacks from the north. Saruman wishes to take over Isengard because he believes perhaps a Palantir might be hidden there. Little did Gondor and Rohan know how much turmoil would come from this ally to the north. Next, we see a shot of Wolf holding a knife to Hera. Clearly, her attempt to talk him down from war does not go well. The next new shot is Helm catching a spear with his arm, then punching a guy, which, as we saw with Freka, will probably not be great for this dude. Next, we see the older lady throw a shield, which Hera leaps into the air and catches. We can see that Captain Rohan here has her white dress on, so this is likely part of that later battle against Wolf. Going back pre-jump, we can see snow-covered housing in the background, which could be the Dunlending huts as they camp outside Helm's Deep. We then get a new shot of Haleth fighting with his axe in Edoras, followed by a shot of Wolf charging with his sword drawn. Again, this looks to be on that earlier siege structure. We then see a shot of Hera leaping into the air and striking down with her sword at Wolf. Cut to the Japanese title card. We also get the stinger at the end with the orcish-looking hand putting a ring into his satchel. Nothing new here, but I actually have a theory as to who we are hearing here. Dominic Monaghan shared the trailer on his Instagram when it dropped, which has led many to believe that he has some kind of voice role in the film. Personally, I think he might just be this orc that says, "What does Mordor want with rings?" Listening to it a few times, I can definitely picture him putting on this voice. I'm sure we'll find out in good time. Well, there you go, guys. Second trailer breakdown. Personally, I think there's some pretty great shots in this trailer that would have been cool to see in the English version. Definitely some great action here, though I think I do prefer the story beats we got in the English one. Getting Freka, Wolf's proposal, and the punch was the kind of stuff I really liked seeing. This one does seem to show us a bit more of the action that anime can do though, and I think it makes for a strong trailer as well. But let me know what you think in the comments, and be sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss all the Tolkien nerdiness we have each and every week. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.